So I just really like that we have.
Some of our most difficult things that I've done are to be accessible, but also learn. So as a mom, like letting my kids do that, it's just so I will have 3 this year, so I'm very confident.
I know, I was like,
All right, as you guys wrap up. As you guys wrap up, you can go ahead and have a seat. I'll grab your card. Thank you. I'm gonna stick it in there. How was that? Good questions. Hard. I know some of them were like hard. The pink ones are a little bit more light and fun. I probably should have told you these before. Ask for forgiveness instead of permission. The pink ones are a little bit more light and fun, the bright pink ones. The rose gold colored, those ones are a little bit deeper, and then the ivory color invite more self-reflection. Thanks. So they kind of have to like think about those ones a little bit more. So it's fun is that when we do those, and I actually, when I facilitate that, I actually just got to recently facilitate that exact exercise at, are you guys familiar with Dean Graciosi at all? He's Tony Robbins' business partner. So I was speaking at an event with him. I got to facilitate that with the room. It was really fun because it's like, well, if all of a sudden you're like the light and fun person, and you see someone with the ivory card and you do not want to go that deep, you're like, nope, not you. So it's pretty fun. Okay, well, good. Well, I'm glad you guys got to know each other a little bit more. You got to connect on a deeper level. Because it's like once we get past so what do you do? Like the default questions that we typically go to, then that's where real and genuine connection happens. But most of the time we actually just default that like, so, the weather, it was a little snowy today, and I wore the wrong shoes for that, or the default like, so what do you do? And so what I've found is that over 70% of people actually hate those questions. They hate like talking about the weather. They hate the dumb question of, so what do you do? But we have to actually learn how to ask better questions because we just are so used to going into that default mode of those default questions. And so we actually love to invite people into learning how to ask better questions. So in this space, when you get more comfortable with it and then you leave from here, you're actually able to have better connections with anyone that you meet. You're able to talk about your business in a more confident way as we talk about what's called our signature statement. And you leave a better lasting impression than everybody else who does this. So what do you do in the bad 30-second story pitch, right? Okay, so we're gonna dive into a little bit of training now for you and for your business. So now that we got like the good connection things out of the way, we are going to go into a little bit of what I like to call magnetic messaging. Okay, so if you have notes or paper, you're gonna definitely want to pull these out because this is one of the things that will help also set you apart from your competition. And I know sometimes with women in business, the word competition is like, oh, but we like collaboration over competition. And it's like, actually, we're in the real world, there's competitors out there. I was an athlete, competition within the healthy competition actually makes everybody better. Right? We just saw Simone Biles, everyone at the Olympics, they compete, it's okay. Healthy competition is great. We don't want anybody to die or fall over or their business to blow up or for them to break their knees, right? We are adults, healthy competition is fine. And so when our messaging is on point, when our messaging calls out to the correct ideal clients and actually gets into some more of the psychological buying, kind of what they're thinking or ways that we're able to let them know that we are the right person for them, that comes into our messaging. So whether it's something that we're saying, whether it's something on our social media, on our website, in our emails, our business or brand name or a product name or anything like that, it all comes down to messaging. And so we're gonna go over some of my favorite techniques for magnetic messaging. So this will actually help you attract your dream clients. And this comes from, I took this concept, it's a really great book, easy read, but I'm gonna give you the cliff notes. And it's a book called The One Sentence Persuasion. Okay? And I'm gonna read you this sentence. The book was by Blair Warren. And here's the sentence, okay? People will do anything for those who encourage their dreams, justify their failures, allay their fears, confirm their suspicions, and help them throw rocks at their enemies. Okay? So I'm gonna read that again. People will do anything for those who encourage their dreams, justify their failures, allay their fears, confirm their suspicions, and help them throw rocks at their enemies. Okay, so it's actually a really powerful sentence. And we are going to do a little bit of workshopping around this for you and for your business, okay? So when it comes to attracting your dream client, first, we actually need to be clear on who is my ideal client. Are you guys clear on that? Yes? Yes? Maybe so? Okay. So I love this question because sometimes people are like, yes, I'm so clear, and other times they're like, maybe, and other times they're like, I don't know what I'm even doing right now. And so this concept of an ideal client, I remember some of it it's actually is this blend. And I think a lot of times in kind of the business world, we think that if I just put this thing out there and this is my ideal client, that's exactly who's going to come to me. That's not always reality. I remember a handful of years ago when I published my first book. It's called Meant for More, Igniting Your Purpose in a World That Tries to Dim Your Light. And I did a 14-day challenge. And it's called Unshakable Confidence, and it went viral around the world, which was really, really fun. But it was really interesting because who I thought the course was for was not who kept taking the course. Okay? So it was this 14 days to Unshakable Confidence challenge, like go over your limiting beliefs and get what you really want out of life. And I had they tell you, okay, print out a picture from online and the picture of your ideal client and give her a name and give her all these little characteristics so that you're like, okay, that's who I'm writing my copywriting for and that's who I'm going to sell to. But who kept coming into my challenge was very, very different. And so there is this truth that lives in the tension of who you think that you want to work for or work with compared to what your messaging will actually attract. And I remember helping one of my clients with this, who she was doing some money mindset stuff. And she kept talking to she said that her ideal clients were CEOs. And she's like, on these money mindsets and when you're not reaching your 10K months and blah, 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 and all this different stuff. And so in some of her messaging, I'm like, there's a disconnect because first of all, CEOs, most of the time, they're not on Instagram, they're on LinkedIn. So first, the first place that you're actually marketing is in the wrong spot. But second of all, CEOs, yes, in the entrepreneurial space, I have sometimes there's I'm in direct marketing, I'm in network marketing, and I'm a CEO of my business. I'm like, oh, not really. But when someone is the CEO of a bank or they're the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, they're making decisions based off of millions and millions and millions of dollars. One of my clients right now, they're in their portfolio is $9.9 trillion that they manage. And so they're making massive decisions money-wise. They're not talking about 10K months, right? And so there was a disconnect with her messaging. So once we were able to filter through some of that, she was getting 0 clients. And then we were able to filter through some of that, actually get her clear. And then she started getting client after client after client. But it was the right client, right? Because she was speaking to the wrong person. So that's how powerful that your messaging is and how much it matters. So, I'd love to hear, for those of you who your ideal client is for, or maybe you're clear on it, are you working with exactly who you want to be working with? Because that's another question. You might be clear on your ideal client, but maybe they're coming in, maybe they're not. Maybe your message is landing with them, maybe they're not. And so as we start to develop some of the messaging of what we're doing with this one sentence persuasion, the idea is that it's actually going to attract your ideal clients. I remember another gal who I was working with, she wanted to work with these higher level people with her social media marketing business. And she wanted to work with businesses who, had XYZ amount to spend, and but she kept teaching on beginner concepts. And so she kept attracting beginners. Like, oh, I don't know how to post on Instagram. Well, here's how you post on Instagram. Here's the tips that I'm giving. But the higher level clients, they're not afraid of posting on Instagram. They don't have problems figuring out content. They don't have problems with their branding shoots and figuring out what images, and they have their team making the images. So there was a disconnect. But part of it wasn't that she wasn't capable of getting these higher level clients. It was actually her belief in herself that actually kept her teaching these lower level concepts. And that's what her messaging was reflecting, right? So interesting journey to actually not only be clear on your ideal client, but then also to attract them. So a couple easy things to understand when it comes to your ideal client is obviously their age range, marital status, they have kids, how old are their kids, what's their occupation, what's their education level, what's their projected income, what's their geographic location. For a physical business, that obviously matters unless you sell online products. What are some of their beliefs that they hold? What are their biggest struggles and problems? So we have in the marketing world, what I actually love to dive in deeper is what's called psychographics. So not just demographics of an ideal client, but the psychographics. And so this is a little bit more of, what are they thinking? What are they struggling with? What's keeping them up at night? What is making their chest so tight? And what are the thoughts that are going through their mind when they're overwhelmed and they feel so stuck and they have to, they're in so much pain that they have to get out of that place, right? Because for people to actually make a decision, we move towards pleasure or away from pain. Now, people that move away from pain, they actually make bigger, bolder, stronger decisions to get out of that place of pain, but they have to be in enough pain to make a decision. If they're just in kind of a little pain, they're not ready to make a decision yet. And sometimes people, they'll move towards pleasure. Oh yeah, this is the difference of, I have 50 pounds to lose and I just got a bad report from my doctor and I have to change. I have to do something drastic compared to I'm going on a cruise in a few months, I'm going to lose 5 or 8 pounds, it'll be fine, right? So that's the difference of pleasure versus pain. But the people, if you can actually target and get them in their place of extreme pain, frustration, transition, those will actually be the ones that are ready to buy your products or services faster than those that you might be targeting for pleasure. Okay, so anytime you can target someone when they're in a transitional place, they will buy way faster because they will do anything to get out of that pain point. Okay? So what are their struggles? What are their problems? What are the thoughts that go through their mind when they're in that spot? What does it feel like on their body? And how can you start to explain that in your copywriting and your messaging? You're speaking right to them, right? What makes them angry? What makes them frustrated? What do they watch on TV, right? Who do they identify with? Who do they resonate with? What websites do they visit? Where do they hang out online? Are they on Pinterest? Are they on Instagram? Are they in Facebook groups? Are they on LinkedIn? Are they in forums? How does their typical day look? Right? Are they up early and they're dropping off kids and then they're picking up kids and whatever and blah, 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 but you keep posting things in the evenings when they have their sports versus the midday where they're able to be free, right? What industry trends will affect them? I know we're seeing a lot of different things happening in the world with a lot of different executive orders and changes in governmental leadership. And then there's actually, on a corporate level, there's a lot of things that are shifting and changing. A lot of corporations and companies are being affected by some of those things. I was on consulting call with they're $1 billion industry, and even their highest level leaders, their executive teams are like, we are being so affected by it, and if our leaders are feeling it, and the rest of their employees are feeling it, and so they were investing in some leadership development and leadership through change, and so like, okay, what industry trends are being affected by it, or even from on a scale that affects us. Like I remember when Instagram Reels first came out, it's like, oh, okay, that was an industry trend that radically affected each of us as small business owners. And those who got on the trend took off like crazy. Those who didn't quite get on the trend, maybe they took a little bit longer. Those, like, some people are still like, I don't know how to do an Instagram reel, right? You're missing out.
I know how to do it.
Well, you'll do it from now on, because no matter if it's a reel, if it's a TikTok, if it's a post, if it's an email, if it's on your website, because of what we'll go over with this magnetic messaging, it will actually help give you clarity on what message to put out there. So it's not going to matter. So you'll feel a lot more confident. So you're good. You stick with me, girl. Okay. And then I love this question, but what is their top secret desire? Like, what do they really want? But like, really? What are their hopes? What are their dreams? What do they see for themselves and for their life in 5 years, in 10 years? Who they want to be, who they see themselves. Like, what are those top desires? So just some things to keep in mind when it comes to your ideal client. But I want to chat a little bit more about the five themes within the one sentence persuasion, okay? So this is, again, that people will do anything for those who encourage their dreams, justify their failures, allay their fears, confirm their suspicions, and help them throw rocks at their enemies, okay? So we're going to first talk about encourage their dreams, okay? So this is like, who do you want to be around more? Someone that tells you that you are, sorry, I'm like reading from my thing. Who do you want to be around more? Someone that tells you to stay safe all the time, or someone that actually encourages you in your hopes and your dreams? I don't know. I'm a dreamer. I know not everyone has big dreams like I do, but I don't want to be around those that are like either the naysayers, the peanut gallery, the cheap seats. Like if I'm in the arena, I want those who are encouraging me and challenging me in a good way and drawing me up higher, right? The rising tide raises all ships. Like I want to be around those people, the naysayers, the negative people, the ones who are like, oh, you're just fine. You don't have to dream that big. Why don't you just stay here in like the little safe spot? I don't really want to be around those people, right? At least that's for me. Maybe you guys are different, and that's okay. But people will do anything for those who encourage their dreams. So knowing the dreams of your ideal clients, the big ones and the little ones, right? Sometimes it's the big dreams of whatever, speaking on stage, or the $1 million business, or maybe it's the smaller ones where it's like, I actually just like don't want to have to wake up at 5 a.m. because I want more control over my time and I want to be able to sleep in. Or like whatever it is that you might be able to help your clients with. Maybe I just don't want to like I don't want my knees to hurt walking up the stairs, or I just need like a little bit of self-care and some time in the salt room to myself without my kids pooping and peeing all over me, right? So knowing the dreams your ideal client has, the big ones and the little ones, is a great way not only to encourage them, but to pour belief into them that you are the one that they want to be around from or to buy your products or services from. Examples could be a certain result within their business, within their body, their mindset, their home, their health. Maybe it's a specific goal for weight or number of followers or a certain amount of money earned or a certain feeling that they want to feel. I don't want to be as stressed. I want to be like more relaxed and at ease. Or I don't want to struggle with this XYZ problem. I want to find a solution to it. Maybe it's freedom. Maybe it's time freedom, financial freedom, health freedom. freedom from fear. So as you get to know your client and the dreams that they have, you can begin to speak to those dreams and encourage them. Okay? Just like even what you did with that picture. What's fun about the picture thing too is I even love doing this to where if I'm like even talking to someone and all of a sudden I just like see something like it's like a picture on their shirt, and all of a sudden we're like outside and it's like a tree, and I could use that acorn analogy. I'm like, I actually feel like maybe there are times like you can just like encourage someone based off of any type of picture that you just see around them. You don't even need the little cards, right? So encourage them in their dreams. The next one, justify their failures. Okay, so this concept is useful because we all have places we have failed. Right? Me? You? Yeah, we all have places we have failed. And so for whatever reason that was, it's more helpful to hear, is it more helpful to hear it's all your fault and you're never going to make it? Or is it more helpful to hear an empathetic response like, hey, it's all right, I've been there too. Or maybe it's not your fault. Like I remember when I was a personal trainer years and years ago, I had a brick and mortar gym in downtown Boise. And I remember I had some clients that were really struggling with losing weight. And they were trying to do all the things and do all the workouts and like eat clean and all this different stuff, but there was something that was still really stuck. And as we dove into some different hormone panels and some toxicity and just like some deeper kind of root cause type things, it wasn't their fault. Because on paper they were doing everything right. But when we actually got to the root cause of hormones and where they were at, and their body was like holding on to toxins and they weren't actually able to get rid of the junk in their body, so we went through some different toxicity screenings and cleanses and all this and hormone rebalancing. And then as soon as we did that, it was like, their body worked great and they lost the weight, right? So it was like, what they were doing, it wasn't their fault until we actually dug into the deeper root causes of it. So it's way more empathetic to be like, hey, it's not your fault. I'm here to help you find that solution, right? So we're not trying to have to make, or we're not trying to not have them take responsibility for their actions, because there is that too, right? You can't lose weight, it's not your fault, but you just are sitting on your butt and eating ice cream all day every day and having 10 glasses of wine. No, that's probably your fault. Let's take some responsibility for that, right? So it's not that we're not trying to get them to not take responsibility for their actions, but there are times where it genuinely is not someone's fault for failing. And so we just want to be that empathetic person that is able to meet them in the midst of that. So this is where you say things like, hey, it's not your fault that you didn't reach XYZ goal. You didn't have the right resources available to you. Or that maybe you haven't managed, this goal up to that point, but you weren't given the tools that you needed. It's okay if you didn't lose that weight that you wanted to lose. You didn't know that GMO foods are bad for you, right? It's okay if you didn't reach that financial goal that you had. There's so much noise out there. You trying to attract your ideal clients. So anything that you can do to justify their failures, right? Next one is to allay their fears. So when someone does something new, when they step out of their comfort zone, when they make a significant investment in a product or a service, it is actually really natural for them to have those internal fears. Right? It's very natural, especially so you said you're kind of going through your coaching certification. So if all of a sudden you're like, yep, here's my 10K coaching package, and they're like, ooh, right? Or they pony up and they hire you as a coach, and then buyer's remorse kicks in, right? And they're like, oh, I don't know. Or it's all of that stuff is very, very real. And so if you can actually, it's natural for them to ask themselves, will this work? It's natural for them to say, what if I fail? Can I actually afford this? Do I have time for this? What if they judge me? What if no one likes it? What if I fail? Right? You can actually reassure them in your messaging and every step of the way. So actually knowing a buyer's cycle of fear or remorse or buyer's remorse or like speaking to those emotions. Like people will buy something emotionally, but they will talk themselves out of it logically. And so reassure them every step of the way, even if they feel afraid or have that negative internal dialogue. Like sometimes if you can actually speak to their internal dialogue, you know, that's where you can say, hey, I know that right now you might be feeling like you are not gonna have what it takes. Like, is this really gonna work for me? You're questioning if I even have time for this. I want you to know that I'm here with you every step of the way. We're gonna figure this out together. I'm really proud of you for betting on yourself, and I would love to be your coach. All right? That provides that psychological support in the midst of their fears that are very, very real and are very, very there. But if you can speak to those, right? The next one is confirming their suspicions. We all have our suspicions about people, things, industries, sides of the aisle. And when we confirm them, it actually creates a really big impact. Okay, so having our suspicions confirmed gives us the right to say, I knew it. And those are three really, really powerful, I had this right thing, that I saw that, I knew it. That if you can create that sort of like I knew it moment, if you can confirm their suspicions, we actually not only feel a surge of superiority, but we also feel attracted to the one who helped us feel that way. So what suspicions does your ideal client have? Is it about a person, an industry, a political party, a result, where they're at, the goal that they have? So get to know their suspicions and confirm them. So I love actually creating a discussion around this topic. So what do you think are some of the suspicions that your ideal clients have? Or actually, before we get into that, I would love to hear, so just really quickly, what's your business? Like, what do you do? Who do you help?
I do energy alignment.
Okay.
So I help people that are stressed, feeling scattered, and they want to kind of center, come back into alignment.
Okay. And yours?
I help people get on video, business owners specifically.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And
so the demographic that I think that I would like to attract is women in business.
Okay.
Who are feeling overwhelmed by doing it all and continually giving themselves.
Okay.
And I'm a control coach, and so that sounds good.
Okay. And yours?
I am a salt therapy owner, well, a wellness owner, and a construction company owner.
Okay. And yours?
Mine's kind of complicated, but basically I help businesses implement technology in a strategic way. So it's like combining everything: the website, SEO, Google Analytics, all the stuff.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing. We'll dive deeper into these too so that we actually get to know each other on that level. But I would love to hear, what do you think some suspicions are that your ideal clients have? I wanted to ask so we actually knew what you guys are doing so I could maybe like workshop a little bit and mastermind.
I think for where I'm at, the biggest thing is that people have worked with other marketing companies before and not gotten results, so they kind of just assume that what I'm trying to do is a sham.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for sharing. And that might get into the allay their fears.
Mm-hmm.
So what suspicions do you think? So if you think about their problems, I would say like suspicions would be like, so if it's like SEO and website stuff, I could see something on Google doesn't want you to be on the front page.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't pay them enough. Or you don't like whatever, like
Right.
something they're like, I knew it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So what are some other suspicions that you guys might think that your ideal clients have in your industry?
I think for me, it's probably like, will it work? Very cautious of, does this even work?
Okay. I would still say that's a little bit more in the allay their fears. What's something that shows up on their body when they are out of alignment energy-wise?
Mental fog,
Okay.
one, or just feeling off. I hear that a lot. Like you just feel off.
Mm-hmm. So what if you could do some messaging around the like, hey, you know that mental fog that you've been feeling, or that just you can't quite put your finger on it, but you just feel off?
Mm.
That's actually not what like most people think. Oh, it's not your food, or it's not like the typical answer that people. You know, it's not the 3 p.m. slump in the day. You know, and all of a sudden they're like, what? I knew that there was something else that was going on, right? So like it's the suspicions, like it's like those gut feelings that around your industry, they're like, I know something is, like I don't know what I don't know, but I know there's something. Is that making sense as far as their suspicions? So when you can actually give them that aha moment of that, I knew it, they will come to you every time. Okay? And the last one, this one's really fun too, is throwing rocks at their enemies. Okay. Now I do want to preface, I'll share this. So this doesn't mean at people, right? We are an environment of encouragement. We are people of encouragement. Our words actually create worlds. And so we speak hope and truth and life and love over people. But this is what this means, okay? So nothing actually bonds people more than having a common enemy, okay? And we all have them. So it might not be a specific person, okay? But think more along the lines of maybe a different company, so like Coke versus Pepsi, right? People who like Diet Coke, like they like do not want anything to do with Pepsi, right? They're like, nope, like, this is my camp, that Pepsi is the enemy. Or maybe it's like, for me in the marketing world, like I use ClickFunnels. Are you guys familiar with ClickFunnels at all? They're actually here in Meridian, which is amazing. So I use ClickFunnels versus Infusionsoft. So it's like a funnel website. Like when you signed up for this event, it's actually hosted on a funnel, and like the email automation and all that kind of stuff. Those are just called funnels. So it just is two different companies. But ClickFunnels, they joke in a way, and they call Infusionsoft Confusionsoft because it's really, really confusing on the back end of things. It's really, really techy. You have to be like a tech genius to be able to use it. And ClickFunnels makes it really, really easy to be able to create websites and funnels. And so that's like them throwing rocks at their enemies. Maybe it's something like cars versus trucks, or maybe it's something like vegans versus meat eaters. Maybe it's something like paleo versus fasting, blondes versus brunettes, water versus Gatorade, iPhone versus Android. It could be a belief. It could be a certain this religion or that religion. It could be left versus right. The earth is flat, the earth is round, right? Give it. There are tons of topics that you could like do something to throw rocks at your enemies. So I'll give you an example of the rocks that we throw, or one of our enemies that we throw rocks at within Business and Bubbly is the boring beige conference rooms with salty salesmen shoving business cards in your face and with bad 30-second pitches, right? It's not a person, it's not even a company, it's a concept about how networking is done. And how many of you have been in rooms like that? You know exactly what I'm talking about. Do you think that this is like that room? Right? So we throw rocks at that concept. We throw rocks at that industry, well-known industry that most people actually hate. The board-page conference rooms and the salty salesman and the bad 30-second pitches and getting business cards shoved in your face. Like, most people hate that, but why do most people go to those rooms? Because that's just what's done, right? So it could like throw, like what are some like rocks that you could throw out, whether it's concepts, and again, not people, but how can you take that concept and your idea and help throw rocks at your enemies so that people are like, you're my people, like I totally, I'm like, yes, give me all the fun pink glittery things and genuine conversation and nobody's shoving a business card in my face, right? So who are the industry trends, products, services, actions, or even beliefs that their enemies are, and then how can you use them to unite you together against that common enemy? People who join each other in struggles actually become more than friends, they become partners, okay? And this isn't like the trauma bonding stuff, this is actually, it's almost like, I remember in college, so I played volleyball in college, and there's something really, really special about the bond that my teammates and I have. Right? Our common enemy was the other team. I wanted to smash the volleyball in their face, right? And during those 4 years, 5 years of college, like we were so close because we struggled together, we fought together, you know, we worked out in the gym, we sweat, like blood, sweat, tears, like team. Like that's the concept of what this is, like throw rocks at the enemy, right? So, are you guys finding this helpful? Mm-hmm. Okay. So, as we kind of wrap this up, I want you to just like write one thing. So, we're gonna write one thing on each of these 5 things. So, list one of the dreams that you think your ideal client has. Go ahead and write that down. It could be big or little, but what's one of the dreams that you could encourage? The next question is list one of the failures that you could justify. Next one, what is one fear that you could help them overcome, face, call out, or be the support around or for? Number 4, what is a suspicion that they have? Something related to your product, service, industry, or themselves. Last one, what is list one of their enemies that you could throw rocks at? And not a person, it could be a concept, it could be a thought pattern or industry, different company. Industry trend. And as you guys wrap this up, you obviously have enough of a foundation to continue with each concept, with each question. And here's what is also fun. I actually love to dive on, like jump onto ChatGPT, the Gemini to Perplexity, and those AI things, and talk about some of this stuff. It's like, hey, help me develop some messaging around the one sentence persuasion course. Here's my ideal clients. Here's my business. I want the psychographics. I want you to speak to their hopes, their dreams, allay their fears. Like help them throw rocks at their enemies, blah, 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 blah. Here's a few of the ideas that I found. Help me expand upon it. And then you have a ton of content. Fun, huh?
Yeah.
So now you can post your Instagram reels because you know what to say.
So I struggle with the enemy one though, right?
Okay.
Like for me,
Let's
it's
workshop
like,
it.
I can't think of an enemy.
Okay.
But
What's the result that people get when they come here? Because you have salt rooms.
I have salt room, detox, and just put in an infrared sauna. And then we
Okay.
have a meditation gal, we have an esthetician. So, yeah, the results that they're coming for, I mean, there's wide range, right?
Mhm.
Skin conditions, respiratory, or just overall wellness, or just to let their kids play in the salt,
Yeah.
you know?
So I could see some really fun things for you, especially around the confirming their suspicions and throwing rocks at their enemies, are things like all of the cell phone waves and everything that's going through the air, like that thing right there is their biggest enemy.
Yeah.
They hold in their hand, they put in their pocket, they sleep right next to their bed. Guess what? It's messing up, right, the salt rooms, and they help ionize, they help ground, recenter, all this amazing stuff. But they don't know that thing in their pocket
Right.
is their biggest enemy, and it actually throws off. Right.
That's really good. I love that.
There you go.
There you
You got an enemy.
So simple. I
Right,
know.
all the Wi-Fi or the 5G or the whatever, like, there you go.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, their little earbuds, the Bluetooth or whatever in their brain. Hey, your brain fog might not be your fault. Confirm their suspicions. Guess what? Our salt rooms actually help recenter, like whatever, little ionize, and help your body get rid of, come back to balance after all of the radio waves that are going through our atmosphere.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
So then you're basically creating a movement. Is that what, out of the throwing rocks kind of thing? Is that
Can you explain that a little bit more?
like a community? You're building more. It's not just you talking to another person. It's like people are getting on board with that. Like, yes, I don't like that either. So I feel like it kind of grows a movement almost.
Yep. So once you actually get these concepts, it's really, really fun.
I'm having trouble with suspicion.
Yeah.
Okay.
For coaching.
Okay. So I know you're still trying to figure it out as far as who your ideal client is. What do you help them with? Like, regardless of the ideal client, what's the result that when you know that you can work with someone, what's the result that you provide?
It's usually helping shift their thinking and behaving so that they can achieve greater possibilities in life.
Okay. So, like, thoughts and behaviors, those are more subconscious. And suspicions are, like, I would say, so we know the subconscious is like 80% of our beliefs are actually, so I'll kind of speak to you as a coach, right? So 80% of our subconscious beliefs, which our subconscious is actually what is like our operating system that actually causes us to make decisions, to think the way that we do. Up to 80% of that is actually ingrained in our subconscious by the time we're 7. And so most people actually live out 0 to 7. The stories that they have picked up, the beliefs that they have picked up from 0 to 7, over and over and over throughout their life until they actually go back, change the story, go back and repair stories, and come back out now So I'll give you an example of this. So for me, when I was 6, I started at a new school and went out on the playground. I was a new girl, went out on the playground, approached, the other little girls out there and asked if I could play. And they said no. And it really hurt my 6-year-old heart. Now as an adult, it's like, who freaking cares, right? You're like a 6-year-old, like, okay, we'll get over that. But that 6-year-old version of me picked up in that emotional moment, because things actually get ingrained into our subconscious when there's an emotional response. And so in that moment of emotion, I actually then picked up the belief and got ingrained into my subconscious, oh, I don't belong, the girls don't like me, that I am rejected, I'm not good enough, I'm not chosen. And then what happens is our brain, it has this, what's called a reticular activating system. And what this thing does in our brain is it actually confirms what we believe. So have you ever bought a car and you've never seen that car before, and also you drive it off the lot and you're like, there's one, you see it everywhere, right? Or a new purse or whatever it is, right? That is actually just your brain confirming what you have focused on. And so from that 6-year-old moment, my brain then started to look for and confirm all of the places where I didn't belong, where I didn't fit in, where girls didn't like me, where I was rejected, where I wasn't chosen. And it wasn't until I had to go back to even that root cause and heal that part and then tell myself a different story and actually get my brain focused in on a different part of the story. I actually had great friends growing up, and I was always involved in athletics and teams. I had incredible friends. Even one of my best friends growing up, her name was also Charity. And I always created spaces of gathering, and I'm a natural gatherer, I'm a natural connector. And so it was like, oh, I actually had to get my brain to see that part of my, all of those parts of my story. But I couldn't see those parts until I went back and healed that 6-year-old little part of my heart, right? So what suspicions can we put around the story like that? Hey,
Programming.
what if your 6-year-old, the 6-year-old inside of you is what's actually holding you back?
And then they start falling in front of you.
And then they get breakthrough.
Playground.
And then they get breakthrough, and then everything changes. Yeah. Or it could be oh, hey, you ever feel like you're hitting your head up against the wall? You don't know why. Oh, that same problem that I'm here again. Oh, this person is here again in my life. It's not your fault. What if it's because of whatever XYZ happened when you were 6? Right?
I feel like that.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing. Anyone else? Okay, so you have the suspicions or the throw rocks at their enemies. What was yours?
Suspicions.
Okay.
Yeah.
So video stuff.
Yep, how to get on video as a business owner. I'm thinking maybe a suspicion is that they think, oh, you can get on video and look really nice and pretty and it's super easy, but actually there's lights and there's this and that, and behind the scene it matters. I don't know. Where would you go with that?
I don't think that's deep enough.
Okay.
And I don't think that is, I think that that's common knowledge. We've grown up watching movies, we've seen behind the scenes. I could stand in front of that window, point at my phone here, and have fine lighting, right? So I don't think it's that. I think it's at a deeper level, people's fear of being seen. So as from a suspicion standpoint, what if we could say something about the hey, you know how you keep getting ready to take the video that you know that you need to make for your business in today's digital landscape? It's not because you don't have the right lighting. It's not because you don't have a phone in your pocket that takes good enough videos. It actually is because you're afraid to be seen in a much bigger way. Guess what? I'm here to help support you, to help make sure we get the right angles of you, the best angles of you, the right lighting. So all of a sudden your products and services actually help support that suspicion or that fear. Or maybe it's a suspicion of, what if your phone isn't good enough? Or what if you're not getting the right, like, all those shots that, like, all of those phone, like that B-roll that you keep posting on Instagram, what if that's, you know, like, I'm sure we can, like, find something about a suspicion on that. And, like, do you help them with any copywriting, or it's just as the video content?
Actually, I was going to bring this up. I am developing a workshop, so working on it.
Okay,
I
yeah.
have concepts, ideas. I don't have all the details worked out yet.
Yeah.
But yes, I want to help them be able to come up with their own messaging, just help them be more efficient, give them tips, pointers, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So,
Love it, love it. Yeah, so like some of it is because when you actually know concepts like this, it actually won't necessarily matter what kind of video. Compared to if you are really wanting to develop a story and a story brand around a sort of video, or to tell a story with a video versus like just like I could take my phone and I could just like walk like this and I could just have like copywriting, right? This is like easy to do compared to, I would assume for you video-wise that you actually want to help develop a story around it, and stories for brands are what help them become magnetic. So it could be like a suspicion around, hey, all that B-roll in your phone, it's actually is a big waste of your time because you're not developing a story. Your videos aren't telling a story around your business. Well, guess what? When we come and develop videos for you and your company, we'll help you develop that. We'll help you tell a story of your business.
Yeah.
Whether that's through visual or through my next workshop. Yeah? Does that help?
Yeah.
Good. Anyone else? Okay, then we're going to dive into the last. Actually, what time is it? I want to make sure to honor the times. Okay. All right. So we're going to do what we like to call our signature statement. Okay. And how many of you guys have been in those networking events where like people get up and like, hi, my name is Sherry and I run a networking event and we have events for women in business and it's called Business and Bubbly and I'm really cool and come buy my stuff. Right? Okay, compared to, so for us, we actually, I love the concept that Simon Sinek talks about. And how many of you have read his book, Start With Why, or you've seen his TED Talk?
Yeah.
Yes, it's so good. If you haven't seen it, like, what have you been doing? Immediately when you leave here, watch it. But he has this concept of what's called starting with why. Now, most people, so if you can imagine like a target, you know, like a big target sign. So this is the what, then a middle circle here is the how, and then the bullseye is why. And most people start with what they do, then they go into how they do it, and they rarely get to the why they do what they do. And I used to teach and train on this start with why concept, spoke to arenas full of people, and when this concept lands, you will actually never speak to someone the same, okay? And it's because it actually helps us get to the part that bypasses language and bypasses the logical side of things and actually gets to the heart of why we do what it is that we do. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example of that. So you saw my typical bad 30-second speech, the bad 30-second pitch that's in every other networking event. But our signature statement, we start with why. So we do the why, then the how, then the what. Okay, Now this might like feel new, it might feel uncomfortable, it might feel clunky at first, but this is a safe place for you to be able to practice that and to take risk so that when you go out there and you start to talk to people about your business, you actually start to nail it and people will remember you in a better way. And then what happens in this room is because we actually start to hear each other's hearts and the reason that we do what it is that we do, we actually connect on a deeper level and we become each other's like biggest marketing artist, where it's like, oh yeah, I totally know Michelle. She's this really great coach and you should meet her because she can do XYZ about her, like the why behind what it is that she does, okay? So I'm gonna give you an example. So I believe that connection and community is one of the greatest assets that we could ever cultivate, especially in a world where AI, it's like, I don't know who I'm talking to, if this is a robot, if this is a real person. And this in-person, heart-to-heart, business-to-business, belly-to-belly connection is one of the most valuable things. I help people cultivate that through our curated experiential events, where we help women come together and genuinely connect. From there, business is done. My business is called Business Enablement Networking Chapters all over the nation. Does that feel different than like the bad 30-second typical pitch? So you start with, and a really great way to start this is I believe. Okay? And then because we want to challenge you to get out of your comfort zone, and because we believe that you don't need to find your voice, you already have a voice, you just need to be empowered to use it, we actually invite you to come up to the front of the room and share your signature statement. Okay? It's safe to be seen here, it's safe to fumble, it's safe to fail. Remember, within the context of community, we're actually willing to take greater risks. So this is the greenhouse for your growth. So we can actually grow together so when you go out there, you're a lot more confident in talking about your business. Okay? So whoever wants to start first, you can come on up and you're going to start with why. You're going to start with I believe. So what do you believe about your business? Why do you do what you do? What lights you up on the inside? What are you passionate about that you do? We want to hear about that, then how you do it, and then what your business is. Is this making sense? All right. Who wants to come up first? Well, I guess second, because I already did it. So who wants to come up second?
I'll do it. I'll get it out of the way.
Go, girl. Okay, come on
I'm
up.
just looking.
Come on up. I love it.
Okay.
Okay, so you're going to say your name, and then I believe, and pause before you start.
Okay.
So another thing that you guys I want you to know about our rooms is because we are all in the arena together, right? We are women in business. We are all doing the thing, okay? So if you can imagine the Rome Coliseum, it fits about 10,000 people, and that's about how many people on average that we meet throughout our entire life. No, stay here. Stay out here. You and me were friends. You just stay right on up here. And so, but plenty of, like, in the arena, we have enough people in the cheap seats. We have enough peanut gallery that can go on up here, right? She was like, oh, I don't want to be there, like, peanut gallery. And so, in this room, we are each other's biggest fans. Okay? So, however amazing or however big of a fail she does up here doesn't matter. We celebrate risks, and we celebrate each other. Okay? So start with your name and your why.
Okay. I'm Terry, and I believe that my Salt Therapy Wellness rooms help you with your respiratory health. It helps you with skin conditions. It helps with your mental health. And I believe fully in this because right at the time that COVID hit, I got asthma right after COVID, which was crazy. And I went to a salt room over in Boise, and I said, I can do this better. And I probably shouldn't have said that because it was a beautiful, beautiful salt room. And then I tried the other salt room in Boise, and it was beautiful too, and they were both very lovely people. But I knew that Canyon County didn't have one. And I was like, you know what, if this helps me, why can't it help others? So that was my why. And I told my husband this, and he's like, why not? Let's do it, because he's my dreamer, and I'm a realist. So he helped fulfill my dream, and here we are.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. So just a little bit of feedback. I would say it was just a little bit reversed. Like, did you guys hear the why a little, like as she started, well, I got this and I went there and I felt better. Like that was the why. So I would say something around like, I believe that like you don't have to like struggle with feeling bad in your body or not being able to breathe or foggy headed or whatever it is. And so I created this space, the solution for the problem that you've been facing. So yeah, but good job, really good job. All right, who wants to go next?
Oh my.
Do it. And just so you guys know, like when you guys come up here, and I facilitated hundreds of these events over the last almost 4 years in different cities. That as you go up, it's gonna feel clunky at first, and you're like, oh, but as you do it, like you're gonna grow, and it's gonna get better and better and better. Like we've seen women come in that are like the scared little timid girls that are in the corner and can't even make it to the front of the room. All of a sudden, a few months in, they're up here and they're nailing their signature statement, and they're like the favorite girls in the room, and they're just like best friends and BFFs with everyone. So that's like the magic of what it is that we get to do. So come on over here, Kelsey. All right, so your name and start with why. Like, I believe.
Okay, so I'm Kelsey. I believe that in order for businesses to be competitive in today's world, they need to have a good online presence. A lot of companies come in and do this, but they just take little pieces and they don't work on making everything work together. So what I'm trying to do for the businesses is basically make sure that their marketing works, their website works, their CRMs work, their SEO works, and do it strategically all together so that they have an all-in-one solution.
Awesome, that's so good. Thank you. And I would even like, for you, something that could improve that is to say all those pieces that you're trying to duct tape, use digital duct tape to put all these pieces together. I have an all-in-one solution for you. Right?
Okay.
So just a little like,
Yeah.
eat the fruit, sprout the seeds, take what you want. So, all right, who wants to go next? All right. Your name and I believe.
So my name is Michelle Hodgson, and I believe that as women, we are sometimes the ones that hold ourselves back because we've been programmed to limit ourselves and make ourselves small. And I help women reframe their mindset and the way that they think about themselves and what they're capable of through integral coaching. I am an integral coach, and I love to work with women to help them open up possibilities for life.
So good. Yes, girl, help women take up space. Who wants to go?
I guess we're going down the line.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Come on up. Your name and I believe.
All right. I'm Julia, and I believe that everyone should have the chance to feel confident on video. So I help business owners get on video, teach them how to, and then encourage them throughout the process.
Awesome. I would say, so why do you do what you do?
Oh yeah, why? When I was in high school, I felt rejected, and I went through that whole stage, and my mom actually encouraged me to develop a hobby, and that was a YouTube vlog. So I got on camera, and I realized that it was a really good way to share myself and be seen and not feel so rejected. So.
I love that. So I think we could work like with something like that to where I believe that video could actually be a way that you feel safe to be seen.
Okay.
Your story could be told.
Mm-hmm.
Where your story could be shared. Something around that.
Yeah.
And get to do that through video and through working with businesses to help them be seen online.
Cool. All right. Thanks.
Yeah. Good job. All right, Amber, last but not least, your name and I believe, so why you do what you do.
Okay.
All right, I'm Amber Dawkins, and I believe that our energy is our most valuable asset. When we aren't feeling our best, we show up as someone that we don't recognize. We regret the things that we do or the things that we say. And that when we feel better, we actually show up as our truest self, and then we become better. I believe that because as a mom and a wife, when I was depleted and my energy was low, I didn't have any more to give. I was giving from an empty cup. And I was regretting like some of the things I said. It affected my family, my marriage, my relationships. So
how do you do what you do and what do you do?
Okay. I have energy alignment sessions, and I help people align their energy and feel centered. Come to yourself.
So good, thank you. Great job, you guys. Great job taking a risk, trying something new. Like I said, it can feel a little clunky and backwards to what we're used to doing. But again, the more that you do it, the better you get. And then here's what's also fun is that you're gonna hear like some things that really resonate, because I'm actually assuming that like all of you guys in this room, each of you guys are also each other's ideal clients, right? Right? And what's really fun about when you actually start to speak to your ideal clients in a room filled with your ideal clients, all of a sudden you can like see what lands really, really well. So one of our mottos actually came out by accident, and well, I know we're gonna wrap up and we'll do the raffle and then we'll finish it up, but it came by accident. And I was just talking like this and to our Boise chapter. And we were talking about financial literacy and about making empowered decisions for us as women. And I said this phrase, and I said, when money gets in the hands of good women, great things happen. And that's, right, it was like this, yeah, like that's what the room did. And I was like, oh, I got a phrase, right? And so that's what's fun is that as you start to like work this out a little bit in a safe environment, you'll start to be like, oh, that, like you'll start to see, oh, that landed, right? And then you're like, okay, I'm gonna take that, I'm gonna keep it in my pocket, and I'm gonna work that out for next month, for my next time I do my signature statement. And then it starts to develop a really, really incredible message. Is that making sense? Mm-hmm. All right, well, that is what I have for you guys today. So thank you so much for allowing me to come and to pour into you. And Julie is going to take it over. I know we have a giveaway, and I actually want to do a little group picture too before we go. So
really quick,
yeah.
would you mind touching on the conference coming up?
Oh, yes,
Okay.
yes. So actually on April 5th, actually go ahead and pull out your phones. And go to businessandbubbly.com/conference.
Oh, I'm already
So April 5th, it's in Boise, downtown Boise. We're having our marketing conference.
Mm-hmm.
And because I'm the founder and because I can, I'm going to give you guys a promo code. Okay. So yesterday was actually the last day for early bird tickets. And now they're up at retail, and I want to say they're $700 for a ticket. But I'm going to give you guys a promo code that will give you a general admission ticket for $1. Because I'm the founder and I can, and because I'm here with you. So the promo code is at checkout is INSIDER, INSIDER. And you'll get that general admission ticket for $1. businessandbubbly.com/conference. It's a full day thing, but we have an incredible, we're talking about AI, we're talking about marketing, we'll connect. We'll talk about standing out as an industry expert, your messaging. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's not a boring beige conference room with a bunch of, whatever, like, the stage is so cute. And we're going to have a lot of fun, so I'd love for you guys to be there. So, there you go.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you guys so much for having me. All right, come on up, sister.
Okay. So,